I'm going to call this council meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. Do we have any closed session reports?
Thank you, Mr. See, there we go. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No closed session reports.
Okay. I would like to ask if one of our championship football players would like to come up to the podium and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. No. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Litzter,
Here.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Here.
Councilmember Judge,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes,
Here.
Mayor Thomas.
Here. Are there any items for agenda review?
Mr. Mayor, one item, we'd like to pull consent 4. We have a few language issues to deal with on our, on the contract, so we'll bring that back when that's resolved.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor, I move that all resolutions and ordinances presented tonight be read in title only and all further reading be waived.
Second.
Call for a vote.
Councilmember Litzter.
That's why that was locked.
The motion passes unanimously.
If any member of the city council may have a conflict of interest or any reason why that member must abstain from consideration of any matter on this agenda, he or she should declare so at this time. Seeing none.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the first item on the agenda is item 1D1, presentation of certificates of commendation to the Simi Valley High School Pioneers football team for winning the CIF Southern Section Division 6 Championship, and Assistant City Manager Samantha Argabright is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and City Council members. This evening, the City Council is recognizing the Simi Valley High School varsity football team, or should I say champions, for winning the 2023 CIF Southern Section Division 6 Finals. This isn't just any CIF win, but the first CIF win in the school's 103-year history. This achievement was truly a team effort, so tonight we will be calling forward the players, coaches, and managers to be recognized. There are more people here who share in this success than we have certificates for, so we want to thank the parents and family members who also supported the players and this program. There are about 75 people that we are recognizing this evening, and while not everyone could be here, we will still call everyone's name. And if you could please come forward as we call your name for your certificate, please begin lining up in the chamber. Jordan Lewis, Jesse Serrano, Seth Knight, Eddie Santiago, Drayden Rittersdorf, Jaden Clark, Clark Ferrero, Dominic DeMaio, Alex Villalobos, Jaden Graham, Tamaj Newborn, Connor Calabrese, Dylan Jello, Baron Calabrese, Bryce Hawkins, Gavin Hammond, Ethan Valco, Evan Rodriguez, Cole Alejo, Isaac Hannans, Reese Guzzo, Nick Jerry's, Quentin McGann, Jack Reed, Thomas Minter, Zach Zenon, Isaac Simpson, Christopher Kasoyan, Thomas Humphrey, Michael Villatoro, Ricky Schoonover, Hunter Lyon, Jameson Jimenez, Kevin Alano, Braden Calabrese, Michael Gage, Jacob Weber, Isaiah Pletas, Michael Nielsen, Jackson Kameni, Cole Cackley, Jackson Lady, Nico Santiago, Gino Vione, Dominic Vigliotto, Joy Weber, Cameron Gennady, Daniel Perez. Did I miss any players? All right.
Well, we'd wanted to take a time to congratulate you guys on this. I have a few questions for you. Did you guys like practice hard to get ready for the season? Were some of those practices really hard, like you were wishing they were over before they were? I mean, it was a lot of work, right? It was a lot of work, right? And that's what you get for it, a championship, for working hard, and that's really good. Someday you're going to be talking to your kids and grandkids and telling them about this. That's the kind of thing in a person's life that you'll talk about the rest of your life, and I think that's fantastic. So congratulations. I'm going to let everybody say something.
Mr. Mayor, would you like us to call down the coaches and managers as well, or would you like to recognize the players first? Okay. Okay.
Well, guys, congratulations. Super effort, and those 2-a-days are paying off, just like the mayor said. I got to play on my high school football team, and unfortunately, I was the second largest guy on the team playing quarterback, so I spent a lot of time looking at the clouds. And you guys all pulled together and accomplished something absolutely fantastic, and I wish I was on your team.
Thank you. It is not coincidental that I'm wearing maroon. I want you to know I wore this on purpose, maroon and gold all the way. That I have 5 kids, 3 sons, 2 of which played football at Simi High. In fact, I was just texting my son, Robert, when was it? You guys were the CIF finals? Okay, they made it the semis, 2014, 2015. It is huge. It is huge what you guys have accomplished. Once in a lifetime, once in Simi Valley's lifetime. You probably know that, right, guys? And what I realized, too, is that it takes a whole group. Your parents, your coaches, your brothers and sisters, your cheerleaders, you go through the whole group, what it takes when they put on the meals for you, all that stuff, takes a village. And I just want to say, well done, guys, because I know these moms with the phones, they earned it just as much as you guys. So anyway, congratulations. So thrilled for Simi Valley High School football. Amazing.
All right, they didn't want to give me the microphone because I went to Royal. Mike and I have a friendly competition here. But no, really, thank you for representing Simi Valley so well. I'll take down my Royal Valley sign, I promise. But no, it's such a great thing to go all the way to CIF. I was here waving you guys on when the buses drove by. So everybody here in this entire community is just so excited for you and so proud of each and every one of you. Can't wait to see what you guys do in your future.
Thank you. I can't say more than anybody else already has, but congratulations. Great work. Coaches, great job. Parents, outstanding. You've made our city proud, and first time, that is awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much for doing what you did, and we appreciate you.
So don't leave yet. But let's go ahead and bring the coaches up because I know what a big part they play in the success of a team.
Coaches, managers, would you like me to call everyone by name or just call the group down? Okay. Jim Bankert, Tanya Weissman, Richard Fong, Doug Simones, Daryl Talavera, Debo Pichette, Cody Smith, Aaron Hidalgo, Michael Brignac, Tyler Staley, Bob Richards, Chris Morgan, Gil Carrillo, Michael Sereno, Anthony Thompson, Lance Sterling, Larry Leone, Joe Sita, Kurt Fritzenkotter, Pierre Durand, Emily Ferialdi, Brooklyn Paley, Angelica Alvarado, Bianca Vasquez, Austin Devine, and I think we've already called everybody that was already on that list.
I didn't have that many coaches when I played. All right, so how about everybody kind of get right over here? Is there somebody that can take a photo? All right. Come on over here, guys. Kind of line up, kind of facing that way. Yeah. Well done. Congratulations, guys.
I'm going to let you guys.
Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D2, presentation of certificates of appreciation to outgoing Special Event Support Review Committee members, and Senior Management Analyst Heidi DiNardo is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and members of the City Council. Tonight, we are recognizing 5 Special Event Support Review Committee members who donated their time to review 17 special event applications, requesting $93,425, and had the difficult job of making grant funding recommendations of $25,000 to the City Council. Committee members chaired a public meeting held on December 13th, 2023, and listened diligently to presentations from many of the city's nonprofit organizations. Tonight, we would like to recognize these individuals for their generous service given to the community as a Special Events Support Review Committee member. I'd like to first take a moment to recognize Vice Chair Jan Smith of Neighborhood Council Number 4 and Janet Plant of the Council on Aging, who volunteered and served on the committee but were not able to attend tonight's presentation meeting. And now I'd like to invite the following committee members to come down to the podium as I call their names. Chair Bridget Charbonneau, representing Neighborhood Council Number 2, David Masso, representing Neighborhood Council Number 1, and Gail Sutton, representing Neighborhood Council Number 2. I did not see Gail, but hopefully.
Well, thank you very much for investing your time to make a difference for our city. We appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone taking a photo? Or? Yeah? All right, good deal.
Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D3, presentation of Employee of the Month for February 2024, and Administrative Services Director Carolyn Johnson is here to present this item.
Good evening, council members. This evening, we're going to acknowledge Andrew Muro as the February Employee of the Month. Andrew, if you want to come down. So Andrew has been a valuable member of the Administrative Services Department since August of 2020. He's very flexible and always a pleasure to work with, and especially when it comes to preparing the council agenda packets with all the last-minute changes that are thrown at him. Andrew also looks for ways to assist in saving the city money, whether it be by working more efficiently on City Council Packet Day to help reduce the need for overtime, or by utilizing less paper and not printing unnecessary copies. He checks in with the clerk's staff frequently to see how he can assist. A few meetings ago, Andrew pointed out on Packet Day that there was an item on the agenda that had over 1,100 pages, and he asked the city clerk if everyone who generally receives a copy of the entire packet would still want the entire document printed. Staff determined that not all copies were necessary, and therefore Andrew reduced the number of copies by over 5,000 pages. This is just one example of how Andrew is a dedicated public servant. Whenever you speak to Andrew, you know you're going to get a positive attitude. He's always willing to assist no matter what is asked of him. Andrew's a great asset to the city and well-deserving of the February Employee of the Month Award.
Well, we have amazing employees in the city, and here's a perfect example right here. So very good job.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D4, presentation of a proclamation declaring February 2024 as Black History Month. And Police Chief Shorts is here to present this item.
Mayor Fred Thompson, Mayor Fred Thomas and council. Freudian slip there, right? We'll read the Black History Month proclamation. Whereas the celebration of Black history can be traced back to 1926, when writer and scholar Dr. Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history, began the annual observance each February to coincide with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, to recognize the contributions of Black Americans in this nation's history. And whereas, since February 1976, when President Gerald Ford proclaimed Black History Month to recognize the important and innumerable contributions made to our nation's life and culture by Black citizens. All American presidents have designated February as Black History Month and endorsed the theme. And whereas this year's theme for Black History Month is African Americans and the Arts, which highlights the influence of Black Americans on literature, folklore, language, film, architecture, culinary arts, music, and cultural expression, and how these contributions have shaped our community and our country. And the city council calls attention to the egregious discrimination and bigotry endured by Black Americans making historic and pivotal contributions to society. And whereas Black History Month serves as a reminder to continue to work together toward justice and equality for all, combating racism and building a more diverse, supportive, inclusive, and protective community. And whereas Black History Month is a prompt to the citizens of Simi Valley to reflect on the sacrifices and contributions made by generations of African Americans and continue the nation's march toward a day when every person knows the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and to build a better and brighter future. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Simi Valley does hereby proclaim the month of February 2024 as Black History Month in the City of Simi Valley to celebrate the rich contributions that Black Americans have made to the fabric of our society. Presented this 12th day of February 2024.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 2, public statements on appointments, special presentations, and informational reports. Mr. Mayor, we have no speakers for this item this evening. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3B1, economic development presentation, and Assistant City Manager Linda Swan is here to present this item.
Just 1 second here while I get the PowerPoint up. Just see what I say about. Good evening, Mayor Thomas and City Council. Well, it's that time once again to take a look at some key economic indicators and see how the city is doing with our economic development efforts. Higher interest rates and inflation are impacting most households as inflation reduces the purchasing power with increased costs. Businesses tread cautiously when considering capital improvements or business expansion plans. But despite the inflationary environment, the city remains in a very strong position, as we will see in the next few slides.
Right, jumping to sales tax, let's take a look at historical trends. We clearly see a shift from the robust recovery from the pandemic to the current environment of elevated inflation. Sales receipts for quarter 3 23, the most current data on hand, represents the month of July through September and is trending slightly upward, approximately 2% from the prior quarter. I think pivotal to this story is that inflation plays a dual role with the city's sales tax earnings here, as it drives up goods, the costs, and services, therefore increasing our sales tax, all the while giving consumers a reason to pull back on spending and put non-essential purchases on hold. So some key indicators from quarter 3. General consumer goods such as discount stores, sporting goods, and electronics ended down 8.1% this quarter. The city's state and county pool allocation is also down approximately 13% due to inflationary pressures, along with the addition of the Oxnard Amazon Fulfillment Center. Building construction was impacted as property owners decided to slow potential home improvements due to higher contracting and material costs. But on the bright side, autos and transportations ended the quarter in a positive position with a 4.2% increase due to new car sales. Restaurants fared well with a 2% increase as consumers continued to dine out despite the higher prices. And business and industry was up slightly, still spending a little. Providing a quarter comparison here, sales tax revenues were up close to 5% when compared to quarter 4 21, when the economy was recovering from the pandemic, and approximately 4% down when compared to quarter 3 22. Now, bringing this all together and showing data in a different format for you, general consumer goods, internet sales, and autos and transportations are the 3 highest sectors contributing to sales tax dollars for the quarter. Restaurants and hotels, building and construction, business and industry also follow in the double-digit category. So moving on to unemployment data for quarter 3 23, the city had an unemployment rate of 4.27%, with our neighboring cities in Ventura County seeing similar unemployment numbers as well. Oxnard trended the highest as they have a population of 207,000. So as we see sales tax trend downwards from previous quarters when the economy was strong and robust as we recovered from the pandemic, we begin to see some similarities with unemployment ticking up for the city and the county. In quarter 3 22, unemployment trended in the mid to high 2% range. Now we're upping up to the 4s. Gleaning some information from the EDCVC's labor market report, the summer months can be especially volatile, with schools closing and summer jobs in recent years slowed compared to prior years due to the decline in brick and mortar retail stores. 3 sectors contributed to the decline in jobs when we look at the county as a whole. Farm jobs dropped, and that could be due to seasonal volatility. Professional and business services shed about 500 jobs in the county for July. It's not a significant percentage, but does include a mix of office occupations. Public education dropped, as this is expected as schools slow down for the summer. During the quarter, information and other, along with professional and business services, shed minimal jobs. So with the seasonal and summer volatility, the quarter can be skewed a little, but despite these numbers, employers still continue to recruit workers to fill vacancies. Now moving on to vacancy rates for industrial, office, and retail sectors in the city, we remain fairly stable. Again, a rule of thumb, vacancy rates below 10% is good, and anything less than 5% is excellent. The line graph shows a slight increase in 2 of the 3 sectors. Vacancy rates for quarter 1 to date are 5.10 for industrial, 9.70 for office, and 8.10% for retail. The retail sector is fairly flat. Long-term vacancies that exist in Mount Gay Plaza, the unit adjacent to the Sprouts supermarket, which is a sublease and is less attractive to lease for tenants because it's tied to the master lease of Sprouts, and the former Edwards Theater are just a few examples that contribute to the higher retail vacancy. On a national retail landscape area, we continue to undergo a long-term shift. Big box leasing declined in 23, and half of all retail leasing in '23 occurred in smaller spaces due to e-commerce and the change in consumer preference. So on the office front, remote and hybrid work schedules and business consolidations continue to drive up the office sector. Older buildings within the city devoid of capital improvements see higher vacancy rates, while our newer, well-positioned buildings seem to lease up faster. The industrial rate has inched up upward as some of the new construction has been completed and is being placed on the market. So as an example, the 3 buildings on the Tapo Commerce Center on Tapo Canyon Road, they were put on the market, and that's approximately 138,000 square feet. Once those get leased up, our industrial rate drops down to 3.8%. But we are starting to see a little bit of slowdown in leasing activity due to the Federal Reserve's monetary policy. As you can see, brokers are starting to incentivize businesses with free rent deals as a way to entice them into a long-term rent agreement. Valencia and our city are doing the same. All that being said, both investor and occupier demand is still very high, and we'll continue to see swings in our industrial vacancy rate as the city will have a few buildings that are slated to come on the market this year, and there's a lag time before they get leased up. And looking regionally, we can see that there are vacancy percentages among the larger cities in Ventura County. Our vacancy rates in office industrial sectors are within the range of our neighboring communities. Retail vacancy is a little bit higher for us when we compare ourselves to the county and the city. Still trying to find that right fit in that formula for our community. Again, as new construction completes and is placed on the market, the industrial rate will inch up until they are leased. That being said, newer complexes are still high in demand, and in the long term, industrial rates will decrease once some of the new inventory is leased. And just giving you a view from the high 365 level, the overall picture of the city's vacancy within our commercial sectors remain very positive. We can demonstrate that with this pie chart for you. There's 522,000 square feet that is vacant out of the 6.6 million of constructed retail. In the office industry, there's 178,000 square feet of vacant space out of the 1.8 million constructed square feet of office buildings. And in the industrial sector, there is 449,000 square feet showing and available out of the 9.3 million square feet of industrial space. And some of that 449 square feet represents space that is under construction and will lease once construction is complete. And we do have ongoing development that's consisting of 768,000 square feet that will allow for new businesses to relocate. Entertainment Earth is building a state-of-the-art facility on Camisa Drive, and this will become their new headquarters for their operations. This will include warehousing, distribution, and administration. That project's coming to the Planning Commission on February 21st. The Parkinson development on Cochrane Street consists of 37,000 square feet, and it's estimated to complete Q1 '24. Industrial condominiums totaling 49,000 or close to 50,000 square feet on Guardian Street are nearing completion and will offer industrial space for sale with suites that range from 2,300 to 4,400 square feet. It's going to happen this quarter. And the Zebek building on North Chain and Easy Street will provide 500,000 square feet between 6 new buildings, and it's estimated for completion this quarter. I want to circle back to the Tapo Commerce Center located on Tapo Canyon Road. Since my last report, they've received their certificate of occupancy for the remaining 2 of the 5 separate buildings. That adds 138,000 square feet of new industrial space. 2 of the 5 buildings are already leased, with 4-wall entertainment occupying 135,000 square feet and Entertainment Earth occupying 67,000 square feet. Newmark is actively marketing the industrial buildings, and we are excited to welcome new tenants. The city's seen a continued investment in the community through various business transactions, large and small. Simi Valley is an ideal place to conduct business, and businesses are willing to put down their roots permanently in our city. 4M Precision Grinding, a manufacturing machine shop business, relocated to the city from the San Fernando Valley, and they purchased this vacant lot at 600 Easy Street. It's currently under a 2-phase permit process. They received their permits to build out phase 2, and they're in the process of constructing the additional 4,300 square feet of this building. And our ribbon cuttings continue. The Chamber celebrates and welcomes local businesses with the ribbon cutting events for their members. I'm sure some of you have attended these, and they've been done in the past few months. And although business activity does slow in the last quarter of the year, the city will be welcoming Ace Hardware as they plan to stop opening in March 24. Slice House Pizza will open in spring of 24, and we just welcomed 4M Precision Grinding. There are potential opportunities in the queue. They're in the pipeline. We just haven't executed leases or inked them out, but I do want to share them with you. So our planning staff continues to work with Dunn Simi Valley Limited Partnership as they've submitted an application for the demolition of the existing office building here in order to build a 179,000 plus square foot industrial building at 4100 Guardian Street. This would create new industrial space for businesses, and perhaps we could relocate the tenants that are in there to the existing vacancies within our city for office. The PAC Group has submitted a second submittal regarding the construction of a 68,000 square foot tilt-up industrial building on 600 West Los Angeles Avenue. PAC Group is a global company that develops custom baking ingredients for commercial, industrial, and artisan bakers. This would be another example of an investment in the community. And the Zeebeck development on North Chain and Easy Street are actively recruiting tenants for the two buildings identified above. A cold distribution center looking to occupy the 145,000 square foot building has completed the plan check process, and the developer has submitted a tenant improvement for the adjacent 175,000 square foot unit for another distribution center. To date, though, there has been no LOI or lease agreement that has been executed for these two buildings, so we wait patiently to announce these two new arrivals. So I wanted to provide the council with a quick update on the city's filming activity, which includes Allied Studios and the Park District. And I think this slide says it all. The Writers Guild of America went on strike in May 23, then the Screen Actors Guild joined them 2 months later. And then a final agreement to settle was reached on September 27th. This was a very long strike and resulted in very little film activity in 23. So if we look at this, in 22, filming days were 1,644, and for 2023, due to the strike, down to 315 days. We're seeing this regionally, and we're hoping to see more filming as the new year progresses. The city does not make money on the issuing of film permits. We just cover our cost. But filming does provide benefits to our local businesses. It provides rental income to various property and business owners, and it provides name recognition for the city. And just to provide some insight regarding filming, the city is located in the Los Angeles 30-mile studio zone known as the TMZ. You can see in the middle of the map there, that little arrow. The studio zone is a 30-mile radius used by Union Film Projects to determine per diem rates and driving distances for crew members. The center of the studio is located at the southeast corner of Beverly and La Cienega in Los Angeles. So in short, shooting inside the zone will usually cost less than traveling the crew outside of the zone. So it's beneficial for studios to film within the zone. It's cost effective. Historically, SEMI is second to the county as far as issuing film permits. We can turn our film permit around in 24 to 48 hours if that film production company has all of the necessary documents that we need. There will be changes forthcoming as artificial intelligence and streaming changes the dynamics of filming. AI's ability to track actors, facial recognition, and facilitating interactions between real and virtual characters. We may see fewer film permits in the future, so more to come on this industry. I'm happy to report that the citywide economic development strategic plan will be coming forth to the City Council on March 4th. Our consultant, Nadelson Dale Group, hosted 2 community workshops in December 23 in order to gain public feedback on deliverables and engage the community on goods and services they would like to see in the community. The Nadelson Dale Group will present this plan to the City Council in the next few weeks. Envision Simi Valley is still in the works. Stratus Peros and his team continue to work diligently on firming up timelines with Gruen and Associates, who are working on the specific plans for both the LA Street and Tapple Street corridors. There have been some delays associated with both the traffic model analysis, which is with the environmental documents for the specific plan, and along with some infrastructure requirements in order to find the right fit as we plan for the additional density of both housing and business development. The final economic development plan for these areas have been finalized. We've worked with Gruen to conclude that. And staff really sees the importance of the redevelopment of these two areas and the importance to promote economic development. We expect to conduct public hearings in June and July 24, and we hope to have the specific plan completed in August 24. And we continue to partner with the EDC, VC, WEAVE, and the Small Business Development Centers. We share information daily and program opportunities to our business community through our social media accounts. There are all kinds of seminars, webinars, marketing strategies. We just wish our businesses would take the opportunity to really engage in these free services. And our revolving loan fund is still being managed by EDC with several applications in the queue. So this concludes my presentation, and I am available for questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Litster.
Thank you, Linda, for such a wonderful, comprehensive report. Much appreciated. Just working backwards, let me ask, you just referenced the Nadelson Dale Group and the Envision Simi Valley, the two reports. I just want to make it very clear the difference between the two reports. Envision Simi Valley is looking at specifically the Tapple Street corridor and the LA Avenue corridor, both of those, is that correct?
That's correct.
And help me understand what the Nadelson Dale Group,
So the Nadelson
how
Dale-
that differs, what
Yeah,
they're
the
doing.
Nadelson Dale Group is a city-wide economic development plan, and they have discussed and met with the Gruen Associates, but it's looking in the city in its entirety, where the specific plans are for those two specific corridors. How do we reimagine and redevelop those corridors?
Got it. And you mentioned that Nadelson had, and I guess they'll be presenting, but they had, in December, they had two meetings with stakeholders or with community involvement.
Two community workshops to engage their feedback. We do that virtually so that more people could attend.
How well attended were they?
I think we had 13 for a lunch hour and maybe 15 for an evening presentation. I'd have to go back and count for you.
That's fine. I just want to try to track the engagement. Okay, thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. Well, maybe one more question then. You explained, my initially was going to ask about some of the industrial development, and you explained very well what was going on in Tapple Canyon. I guess my question is, we referenced many things that you're doing and things that are being not quite inked out, but on the verge. And I guess my question is there anything as the council should be involved in actively that you think would be helpful in bringing any of these companies or deals to fruition? Is there anything that you envision?
I personally think you just being available for a phone call and taking the time to meet with them, should they want to meet, is very gratifying to them because they have access to you. I think when they go through plan check and they have great results, or should they be having obstacles, they can reach out to the city manager, they can reach out to council, and they're going to get answers. I think that's one of the most positive things about our business community and how they can get through the process.
I appreciate that. And I guess I did have one more question, but it was just in the very beginning of your report, you were talking about sales tax and how things were being derived. You made the reference about the state and county pool allocation is down by approximately 13%.
Yes. So because the economy is contracting and slowing, the allocation that we get from the pool basically distributes funds to all the various cities in the county. So now the pool is shrinking, so we get less. In addition, the fulfillment center takes a small portion of what the city used to get, because now, and the city manager can step in and correct me if I'm not stating this right. Previously, before the fulfillment center was there, should you order an item and it come to you, Simi Valley would get the sales tax. But now that that fulfillment center is physically there, that fulfillment center actually gets the sales tax.
Got it. Okay. The reason I'm asking, just for clarity, is that 13% is much lower than what we're experiencing within our own tax revenues. I mean, within the city itself, in terms of the percentage that we have gone up or down in terms of sales
Yeah,
tax.
I think this is a dual process where you have the pool shrinking regionally as far as sales tax. People are not spending as much, therefore we don't get as much. In addition to the change in location with the warehouse in
Got it.
Oxnard.
Okay. Well, thank you, Linda.
very welcome.
Very much appreciate your part.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions, Linda, on specific locations that I get questions about by constituents. In fact, one of the funny stories was I was at a rave in the desert in Nevada a couple weeks ago. And I actually had a constituent come up to me and ask, hey, what's going on with the Musashi restaurant?
Were you really at a rave?
I was, yeah. It was shocking.
Okay.
Shocking as that might sound. Put on by a military police tactical company. It was
Okay.
very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a story you stick
I
into.
believe that would be Cork and Batter.
Yes.
Am I correct? Yes. So Cork and Batter was supposed to open, I believe, at the end, Q4. Well, actually, it was fall of 23, but it has been delayed. They are still planning on opening, but I don't have a date for you.
And the Amazon Fresh, any movement on them? Nothing, huh?
Fortunately,
Not at
no.
all.
How about, the last one I remember people asking me about specifically was the old El Torito restaurant. Anything on that? Any
Well,
bites?
So there is nothing inked out in stone as of yet, but we do have a developer looking at it in regards to splitting it up into 3 different units and occupying it. So again, that's in the discussion phase. I believe they've reached out to the city manager and spoken to him about it.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Maybe just one follow-up question. It dawned on me that this didn't specifically talk about our Simi Town Center and what's transpiring there. Is in the retail figures, does it include, for instance, what's going to be, it will change once Macy's is completely gone. And what does that do to our retail figure when that happens?
So when Macy evacuates or closes, then what you'll see is probably a jump in the retail vacancy because now that is available for lease. So you will see that happen.
I'm just curious, you don't know what percentage that's going to be?
It's 110,000 square feet out of 6.6 million, so.
Okay.
It'll go
So
up a
I
couple
should do the
ticks.
math. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not that good at it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3C1, informational presentation by Youth Council Member Pranav Bijith.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and esteemed members of the City Council. My name is Pranav Bijith, and as a current junior at Santa Susana High School and a proud member of the Simi Valley's Youth Council, I'm here to express our gratitude for the unwavering encouragement and support you have extended to us throughout this year. Your support has been crucial in enabling us to undertake and excel in our initiatives aimed at empowering the youth of our community. I'm thrilled to share updates on the Youth Council's recent activities and our plans for the coming months. First and foremost, we are excited to announce the rescheduling of our annual Youth Town Hall to Monday, February 26, 2024, at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. After months of preparation, we've finalized a panel of distinguished guests, including Mr. Michael Hall, the principal of Royal High School, Serena Nugent, a licensed clinical social worker within the Simi Valley Unified School District, and Ashlyn Rowe, a UCLA student and Youth Council alumni. This year, our focus will be on stress, social, and academic challenges facing students, aiming to shed light on the importance of student well-being. Additionally, the Teen Wellness Committee, led by Jaslyn Kongora, is hard at work planning the second annual Teen Wellness Night for May 17th, 2024. Supported by a grant from the Simi Valley Unified School District's Tobacco Use Prevention Education Program, this event promises to build upon the success of last year, introducing new activities like a sound bath session to promote the wellness amongst our youth. We're also looking to broaden the event's impact by introducing more service projects and encouraging teacher participation to foster positive student-faculty interactions. Our fundraising committee is organizing our annual youth talent show set for Wednesday, April 17th. Youth Council members are in the process of selecting their roles in running this event. For those interested in performing whether in the competition or in the non-competition showcases, audition videos must be submitted at bit.ly/challengeshow2024 by March 6th. Our Multicultural Fair Committee has met with Dr. Angelica Chavez with the Simi Valley Unified School District and Madam Mortine, a Santa Susana High School's International Club advisor, to discuss a collaboration for a district-wide multicultural fair during the school's International Week, highlighting our dedication to celebrating diversity and cultural exchange. The tentative date for this is April 12th, 2024. Our Bylaw Review Committee presented recommended revisions to the Youth Council bylaws to improve organizational efficiency and accountability. These amendments include enhanced responsibilities for the vice chair of committees, stricter attendance policies, and a more structured selection process for Youth Council members, ensuring that our operations are both transparent and reflective of our community's needs. Our Social Media Committee has strategized the promotion of the upcoming Youth Town Hall to local educators and have developed the launch of our new Youth Council TikTok account. This initiative is crucial for engaging with a broader audience and enhancing our visibility online. In closing, I would kindly ask that everyone please follow and support the Simi Valley Youth Council on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. On behalf of the Youth Council, I give a heartfelt thank you to Mayor Thomas and the City Council for your continuous support and beliefs in our endeavors. We are immensely grateful for the opportunity to serve and contribute to our community's growth. I'm now open to any questions or comments you might have and look forward to your continued guidance and partnership. Thank you for empowering us to make a difference.
Councilmember Lister.
Thank you for that presentation. Question, is it too late to sign up to attend the town hall on the 26th?
It's not too late. I think the registered deadline is actually this Friday.
So sign up now.
Mhm.
What is the time frame? Is the morning 10 to 12? What is the?
Yes, it's 10 to 12, and
10
then
to 12.
check-in or doors will open at 9.
Very good. Well, thank you. Appreciate all you're doing. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pranav, I just wanted to say thank you for an outstanding report. You did great. It's super impressive to me that our young people can come up and present so professionally, and you're doing a great service to the Youth Council. Thank you for that. And I'm really proud of the entire council. So great job representing.
Yeah, thank you.
We have a great youth council, very impressive group of individuals. Thanks for being here tonight.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Good job.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 4, public statements. And since there are no public hearings under agenda item 5 this evening, agenda items 4 and 6 are combined, and the council will hear all public statements under this agenda item 4. Agenda items 4 and 6 are the times allotted for public statements on all items other than public hearings, appointments, and informational reports. Speakers will be called on in the order in which their card was submitted to speak for this public statements item 4 for a period of no more than 3 minutes each. Persons addressing the City Council are requested to state their name and community of residence for the record. Mr. Mayor, unless you have any comments, we can begin public statements.
Please proceed.
Thank you. The first speaker, Amy Corneau.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and council members. I'm Amy. I'm with the Simi Valley Chamber of Commerce, as many of you know. And tonight, I'm going to talk to you about the Salute to Excellence, which is going to be on February 22nd at the Grand Vista Hotel at 5:30. We are doing a Mardi Gras theme. We would love it if all of you could attend. We'll be recognizing our Strathern Lifetime Achievement recipient, Maggie Kesley with Mid-Valley Properties. Howard Pector with Clean Threads Laundry will be receiving Business Person of the Year. WM will be Business of the Year. Curtis Brown from Simi Wiseman will be Community Volunteer of the Year. For the Troops will be our Nonprofit Organization of the Year. And Anna Asatori from US Appliance will be Emerging Leader of the Year. We invite you all to attend RSVP at simichamber.org, or let me know if you need some help. Thank you so much. Good night.
Terry Runzler.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and members of the City Council. Thank you for letting me speak this evening. I attended last Thursday night the meeting at the Simi Valley Town Center, where a bunch of ideas were discussed about the future and what it holds for the city. I think there were many good ideas, lots of open dialogue. It was attended by about 50 people. There's real interest in trying to make this work. It appeared the current center manager was in attendance, as well as a realtor, I believe her name escapes me. But they did a good job listening to the people. And there's a lot of interest in trying to make this thing work. I think it affects the entire city. I personally want to thank you, Mayor Thomas, for attending. It was great to have your presence there. I think it meant a lot to the people that were sitting in that meeting. And I respectfully ask that as this moves forward, that everybody in the city, the residents, as well as the council members, really take an interest in trying to make this work. It's been an item of discussion for a real long time. And in hearing firsthand what some of the ideas came up and such, I think there is a real possibility that we can make this thing work as an entertainment center. So thank you for your time.
Andrew Graves.
Good evening, members of the City Council. As our city grows, I'm glad that we have a planning department that continues to assess our transportation infrastructure and invest here in Simi to help people get around. I was happy to see the approval of the conceptual plan for the transit center at the Simi Valley Government Center, near where we are right now, as it comes closer to some of the great public resources that I know we do have in the city, like our library and many of the programs that we offer there. In my opinion, let me skip to the next part. I also like that it's closer to some of the new mixed-use zoning designation areas and projects along Alamo Street and Tapo Street. Along the same line of thought, there was another thing I wanted to touch on. Our city published and uses its bicycle master plan to guide the development decisions and help riders understand the layout of the city's bike infrastructure. The last time this document was updated was 2008, but I heard that there was currently an effort to publish an update to this master plan. As the plan is still in early development, my friend Diego and I put together some suggestions to the board and the city manager on some specific things we would like to see in the bike plan as it's being developed. The focus of our suggestions lie in the general area between our government center to the northwest and the Simi Valley Metrolink station to the southeast. We would like to suggest the following: a safer and more designated space for bikes along Alamo Street between the development on the corner of Tapo Street and Alamo Street to the government center here at the intersection of Alamo Street and Tapo Canyon Road. And two, a dedicated path along Tapo Street from the intersection at Alamo Street to the Arroyo Simi Bike Trail past Los Angeles Avenue to the south. It would be great to see some more pedestrian and bike improvements around the many schools and open spaces in that area as well, such as Santa Susana Elementary School, Lemon Park, Valley View Middle School, Garden Grove Elementary School, Santa Susana High School, the Rancho Santa Susana Community Center, and Simi Valley High School. I'd like to also touch on the fact that there are many positive externalities associated with improving bike paths, such as fewer people taking their car for short trips, which reduces traffic congestion, reduces emissions, and reduces traffic incidents along our corridors. Increased mobility for people who don't have access to a personal automobile, like older people, children, and people who cannot afford a car in our city. increased connection and involvement with their community, which in my opinion is a big problem for the youth of our city, from my standpoint at least, and increased physical and mental health of the community, along with increased business activity for shops along the route. I would also like to note that bicycle infrastructure improvement projects usually can be very cheap and have a significant improvement with just a bucket of paint and a curb extruder. Many cities even use the routine maintenance and restriping of the roads as an opportunity to improve the safety of bike lanes and routes. Thank you for your time.
Diego Martinez.
Good evening. I made some maps and things, if I can give these to you. I only made 5. Okay. Good evening, Council. I'm Diego Martinez. We are in a very exciting time in the development of our urban areas. After years of exclusively suburban development with Euclidean zoning or exclusionary zoning, we're finally starting to see mixed use. This will bring more people and more traffic, so we need to diversify the transportation options we make convenient for people. Currently, most of Simi Valley's infrastructure is solely for cars, so 90% of the population drives everywhere, and 51% of all of those car trips are less than 3 miles long. These car trips can be transformed into bike and walking trips. If we devote some street space to other forms of transportation and make it safer, we will be much better off in terms of the environment, local economy, and general quality of life. My friend Andrew and I created some visuals to show what Simi could be. In the map, the new mixed-use developments are highlighted in purple. A denser population of the people should be expected near these developments. Each orange pin is a point of interest that people in those denser areas will expect a safe route to get to. Currently, the safest option is driving, and even that option is very dangerous. Each red dot on the map is a traffic crash within the past 10 years that resulted in either a severe injury or fatality. Each yellow dot is a bicyclist or pedestrian that was injured in a traffic crash within the past 10 years. There are too many dots. You may also notice that every major intersection has at least one dot. So intersections are the most effective place to make safety improvements. However, you often see protected bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure just seem to end at every intersection. Some of you may remember this at the intersection of Alamo and Taplow Street, right where the new mixed-use development is. Jacob Sellers, a 12-year-old boy, was hit and killed by a semi-truck while riding his bike with friends. This happened 10 years ago, and nothing has been done to make the intersection safer. Now we are adding even more people to the area and shops that directly face the sidewalk and that intersection, increasing foot traffic. This is a recipe for yet another tragic accident in the very same location. Something can and should be done to make this intersection and all the streets in Simi Valley, for that matter, safer. We can make the streets safe for children by investing in transportation infrastructure other than car infrastructure. I have made some conceptual designs of that intersection to show what can be done at that intersection specifically, but these designs can also be copy and pasted onto other intersections in Simi Valley. With the bicycle master plan being updated soon, there's a great opportunity to make a plan to prioritize these future high traffic and high injury areas near the mixed use developments. And thank you for listening, and thank you for all of your hard work.
Dan Pernick. Brian Dennert.
Here to thank you for partnering with us. It's important to the community for athletics, for learning to swim, and we have swim programs for all ages. I recently did a survey of high school students, and 90% of them know how to swim. I know that's a high number, but that's not good enough because if you exercise as a young person, you're more likely to as an adult. Exercise is good for your physical and mental health. Rocky, you and I know that we're working on closing our circles. Doing okay today. I'm going to get out here and go exercise myself. Thank you for partnering with the state, the school district, and for us to deliver for our community. And Dan is here with me because he's got if you have any questions, he's got the hard job.
Thank you all. I'm here for the item when you get there. Good. Thanks.
Mr. Mayor, that was the last speaker. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 4A, City Council comments regarding public statements.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What a great turnout tonight. All of you speakers were very interesting and brought up great things. Yes, we do need to do some more with the mall. I love the fact that they did have a meeting, community meeting, inviting people over to express their ideas. Park District, I know you want the money that we're going to share with you for the pool, and I appreciate that, and we need to. I'm seeing the work because I drive by there, so they're really getting some work done there, so I'm really impressed with that. And Diego and Andrew, whoa, great presentation to us. Great articles. I had looked at it because you emailed it earlier, correct? I had already looked at it, but I didn't realize, where it came from. Great ideas, way to be involved, and I think we look forward to having you guys throw out some more answers, maybe working with some of us up here and or some of the areas that cover this, because you guys are the ones using it, so your views are really important. So thank you very much for being here tonight.
Councilmember Litzter.
Thank you. I too want to I'll start backwards, echo my appreciation for your work. In fact, I know that we've had conversations on the dais recently about the bicycle update, and it's my understanding, because it's critical, it really is. My understanding is the general plan that there is a RFP that is going to be going out for assistance in that. Is there some accuracy to that statement, Brian?
There is. So the last week of January, we received, our grant was approved by the California Transportation Commission in order to do the bicycle master plan. Now we're waiting for the agreement from the state to commit the money to us. Once we get that agreement and signed, we'll be able to issue the RFP to hire a consultant who will work with us to do the bicycle master plan, which I'm certain includes community involvement and participation.
And I wanted him to give you that answer so you understood that your timing is excellent, that that this is happening and your input would be extremely valuable. And this is great work and great resource, and it is truly including, in fact, I appreciate your conceptual, the different ways that intersection could be redesigned, and even the time that you've taken to show it, to illustrate where some of the dangerous points are. But as a casual biker, I'm very appreciative, and so thank you. I appreciate the efforts of the mall. Thank you, Terry, for coming forward and discussing what took place. I know a couple weeks ago they invited all the mothers to come up and have a meeting and talk about what they envisioned there, and so I think it's going to take a community effort altogether to come up with the right solution, but I think there's great desire to make that a jewel in our community, and it can be done. So thank you for being here. Amy, thank you for being here with Chamber. Appreciate what you're doing, and outstanding people that are being recognized. Very much appreciate what the Chamber does. And our Rancho Simi Parks and Rec, it is exciting what's taking place over there at the pool. We're happy to be a part of that. And that statistic of 90% swimmers is very interesting to me. So 10% we need to offer swim classes maybe there at Simi High. I know that they have polo, and anyway, I'm just thinking about this. So anyway, thank you for what you're doing. Of course, it's going to be part of our conversation a little bit later, so thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Amy, I've already put in my RSVP, but I have to give you a tip. You've ruined the surprise for everyone. And they already now they know who's getting the awards. So I don't know if that's it. Mr. Rexler, the town center is a conundrum. It's at one level you think the answers are so simple, and on another level, it's a really complex thing. Please know that we're all engaged and all want the same things, have a successful, thriving mall area, and I think that what you heard of that night about moving towards entertainment focus is probably the right way to go, and we'll just continue to keep working. But thank you for your participation in that process. Andrew and Diego, somehow I have a feeling you'll be putting in a bid on the RFP for the, great job, very thorough. If you're going to bring something to council and say, hey, consider this, this is an outstanding way to get your point across and get your voices heard. With only 3 minutes each to talk, you cover an incredible amount of ground, and we're grateful for it. So thank you for your input. Mr. Perenick coming to speak, thanks, never better. That was very articulate the way you laid out your, never mind. No. I look forward to the discussion on that topic later in the agenda. Thanks.
Councilmember Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say thank you for everybody who came and spoke. Understand that bicycle safety is very important to us. So I like the ideas you gave, a very comprehensive report, and appreciate it. Also, the mall is very important to this city, and I do also agree that I think an entertainment center up there would be the best thing for that place. Other than that, I just want to thank everybody for coming out and speaking.
I received an email earlier tonight regarding transportation and bike safety, and I thought, wow, isn't that interesting that two seasoned professionals in the planning arena took the time to present a proposal like this to us. It was very well thought out. I was very surprised to see how young you are. But great job, and definitely got our attention. The mall, I did attend that meeting. I loved the conversation that took place. There was a lot of good ideas. And I tell you what got me going was the amount of enthusiasm among the store owners in the mall about getting organized and moving forward to try to generate some energy up there. I was also surprised at how many units actually are filled at the moment. But I can tell you that the city, behind the scenes, is working on our part to try to make a difference. And I think we're going to get there. I think that it's time. It was way past time, but I think we're going to get there. Thank you very much. I'm all for anything that we can do to support the Park District, and pool is one of them, yeah. And Amy, looking forward to another 5-star chamber awards dinner. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 7, the consent calendar, and there are no resolutions for your consideration this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I move the approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
Call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 9A, adoption of a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute associated documents for permanent local housing allocation for notice of funding availability, NOFA, years 2021, 2022, and 2023 grant funds, and approval of a supplemental budget request to establish budget authority for NOFA year 2023 grant funds. The reading of the resolution is as follows. Resolution number 2024-04, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley approving the 2023 Notice of Funding Availability Streamlined Application and authorizing the city manager to execute associated documents. And Deputy Environmental Services Director Mara Mulch is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and members of the City Council. The State of California's Senate Bill 2, or SB 2, was passed in 2017 as part of a housing package aimed at addressing the state's housing shortage and high housing costs. Specifically, SB 2 established a permanent funding source intended to increase the affordable housing stock in California funded by real estate transaction fees. The city first adopted its 5-year plan as required to access the funding and authorize submission of the first year's application in June of 2020, which was not awarded until February 2021. Subsequent to the initial award, the City Council revised the plan activities in October 2022 to refocus the grant towards creating affordable homeownership opportunities. However, the state did not provide approval of the amended plan until January 2023. In order to request disbursement of the previously awarded funds, the city had to submit its request for funds along with documents to be used in securing the city's financial interest and affordability for the period of affordability for the Home Buyers Assistance Program to the state for its approval, which were submitted in June 2023. Those documents were not approved until September 2023, at which time the city was again required to resubmit the request for funds. Funds awarded in connection with the original application submitted in 2020 were not received by the city until November of 2023. Since that time, city legal staff has been assisting our housing staff in updating a number of documents routinely used to implement current best practices for our housing loan programs. Additionally, staff has been working to improve the transparency of the city's housing programs, including a comprehensive application packet for the Home Buyers Assistance Program. Staff has begun promoting this specific program and anticipates in accepting applications in the coming weeks. Due to delays in receiving state approval of the city's housing element, which has subsequently been approved, the prior application for NOFA year funding for 2021 and 2022 were deemed ineligible for consideration at that time and are now being required to be resubmitted during the 2023 NOFA application period. The 2023 NOFA was released in late December 2023 and requires applications for NOFA year 2021 funds no later than February 29th, 2024 to maintain the city's eligibility for that year's funding. Therefore, staff recommends that the City Council adopt Resolution 2024-04, authorizing the city manager to execute documents associated with the 2023 NOFA streamlined application and approve the supplemental budget request as detailed in the staff report to establish the budget authority for the most recent NOFA year's allocation. This concludes the report, and staff is available for questions.
Councilmember Litster.
Thank you, Mara, for that report. If I can sum it up, and Senate bill was passed in 2017, making this possible, and now finally in 2024, we might be able to be part of those funds. Is that kind of accurate?
Correct. They base each year's funding is based off the prior calendar year's activity of real estate transactions. So the first year was 2019. We did submit for those funds in 2020. However, due to changes in our plan and then required additional submissions, we didn't receive those funds until this fiscal year.
And I'm being a little facetious because I understand they want a 5-year active plan and they wanted our housing element in place, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to understand, basically the applications for 2021, 2022 have to be in by February of this February to receive the funds that would have been allocated for those 2 years. Is that accurate?
Only the 2021, so they have kind of a rolling window. So you have to apply within 3 years of the NOFA period, and they've changed their NOFA from early spring to late fall to a now rolling open NOFA. So only the 2021 funds would be at jeopardy if we didn't submit by the February 29th date.
And I just want to clarify, as I was reading the report, we are submitting that we would like access to the funds. We are not submitting that we actually have home buyers in the queue ready to access those funds. Is that correct?
Correct. So we don't have to, we have to have the approved activity. We had to submit all of our legal documentation, which we are now fine tuning with our new legal staff because some things have come to our attention in the way they were structured originally. But we do not have to have identified homeowners. The state of California, the Housing and Community Development Department, HCD, has acknowledged that they were somewhat of an impediment to dispersing these funds and having them executed expediently to create affordable housing opportunities. So what our specific rep has told us is that they've modified some of the deadlines and terminology they are typically used for grant awards. So previously, they had indicated we'd have to have our first year allocations spent by April of 2024. However, our grant rep has told us expended now means dispersed. So when the state gives us our money, that we've met that expenditure deadline. So they are trying to be more flexible and trying to maximize access to the funding. but we are fully compliant. What this is going to do is allow us to draw down the remaining 3 years that have already been allocated to the city, and then we'll have to come back again during the next NOFA cycle for the final year of award for the 5-year period.
And just for those who may not be as aware of this program, just can you help summarize? This is loan funds or these grant funds? I mean, obviously the recipients qualify based on their income and the process where they are in acquiring a home, et cetera.
Yes. So this is a little bit more unique and structured to accommodate the homeowner in what staff feels is a better way.
Okay.
So this is a true 20% down payment assistance program. The city will loan you up to 20% of your purchase price as long as that your home falls within, kind of a certain bracket of median home price, depending on where you fall within the market. Because we're not trying to buy luxury homes, we're trying to make sure people can be adequately housed. So there are some parameters on the sales price that you can do based upon relative to the market. But it will be a full 20% down payment, and it will be a true equity share program. So at the repayment periods, we have it structured to incentivize longer-term residency, so people become a part of the community. So we have different thresholds for how much equity would be owed to the city if you sell it 5 years or under 10 years and beyond that. The intent is for long-term residents, 10 years and beyond, that it would be proportionate to whatever share of down payment assistance you received. So you'd repay the principal payment that you received for the down payment plus the proportionate share of the equity. I do want to point out that this is a little bit different than past city programs where it was an appreciation share, where it talked about the base floor of the purchase price and then only kind of looking at how the property appreciated. This is true equity, so it is the value of the property at the time that it's sold or transferred, less the encumbrances against the property, and then those remaining funds will be split equitably between the city and the homeowner. But there's no interest on the loan.
Very good. Thank you. I appreciate that explanation. I just think it's important for the understanding. So thank you, Mara.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Mara, is that the only use of the funds? Can we use the funds in other ways in supporting people and staying in their homes?
So we initially, long story short is there's other uses, but we'd have to modify our plan and go back into that whole cycle that I just detailed for you in terms of getting the plan approved before we could draw funds, et cetera. Previously, when we first did the initial plan, the council approved it for homeless prevention and rapid rehousing. And during that time, it was in the middle of COVID, and there was also additional funds brought forward. However, the stringent requirements for the expenditure of those funds under that category is very difficult to meet, especially within Ventura County. So we changed course to providing home ownership opportunities. However, if the council wanted to direct to select another activity, that would be at the council's discretion.
But if the council wanted to do a program like that, there are other funds available rather than redirect these.
All right. So in regards to the whole program, this is what a good staff does, is sticks with the program through these long delays, and the efficiency of the state government makes it difficult for us to plan at best. I thank you that we can now immediately take action because we've already done the due diligence, so when funds are available, they can be, well, we can, one, capture them, but then use them. It would be my ideal, based on the amount of funds that I was seeing in the report, the limited number of opportunities to help people with down payment assistance versus the ability to help people in this economy with the changing interest rates and so on. I think if you ask the Samaritan Center, they would say they're seeing an uptick in people that are losing or in danger of losing their homes because of food insecurities and so on. If we have additional funds, if we have other programs for keeping the housed and not creating a larger problem, I would put emphasis on that. If it's going to delay this funding and we have other sources, then absolutely, let's not throw another monkey wrench in this and ruin the good work you've done so far. But I think that looking at that is going to be an important thing that we need to do with some funding to help stave off a future problem.
Absolutely. And just to reiterate what the city manager said, we not only have other funds, there's currently a significant amount of funding for exactly that for homeless prevention at the County of Ventura, who does provide services to our residents. So if any resident is facing an inability to pay their rent, including back payment of rent and needs case management support, et cetera, to kind of help stabilize their situation, the Human Services Agency Homeless Prevention Group has dedicated ongoing funding for that purpose. We do have additional funds that have been awarded to the Samaritan Center in support of those activities as well through our COVID Community Recovery Grant. And then we also have money available through our successor agency for homeless prevention. I will just kind of put out there that there are a number, when we say homeless prevention and rapid rehousing, those are statutorily defined by state and federal law. So it's not what you and I may think is homeless prevention and rapid rehousing. So it's very stringent and sometimes very difficult to execute to meet the funding criteria. But there are a number of funds out there that are already being administered or that have the greater flexibility to address some of those concerns. And if any residents are ever having any concerns, they can call myself or Cynthia McCullough, and we're happy to point them to the resources that are currently available.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And thanks again for the hard work on getting us to this point.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
I'll be quick. Thank you. Great presentation, Mara, and all of the information you just gave us. I did want to compliment, I was at Neighborhood Council last week, and Daniel came and gave this presentation on the 3 programs. Very well received, very knowledgeable in everything that he put out there. He answered all the questions correctly, and I was thrilled to see this new program come on board. So thank you and all your staff and everyone for all their hard work.
Thank you. I'll make sure Daniel hears your comments.
Well, you answered all of my questions, so thank you very much. Good job.
Thank you.
Can I make a motion? I move to adopt resolution number 2024-04 and approve a supplemental budget request in the amount of $254,876 in Fund 208, PLHA Fund, to establish budget authority for the NOFA year 2023 allocation.
Second.
Call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 9B, consideration of contract with C.J. Johnson Consulting, Inc. for the preparation of a feasibility study for a proposed amphitheater at the Simi Valley Civic Center and approval of a supplemental budget request transferring $68,000 from Fund 122 to Fund 100. And City Manager Gabler is presenting this item.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, at the October 30 City Council retreat, Councilmember Litzer made a presentation to the City Council regarding the history of the proposed performing arts facilities that have been at the Simi Valley Civic Center. The presentation sought City Council to evaluate the feasibility, construct an outdoor amphitheater on the 3.5 vacant acres here at the Civic Center. At the conclusion of the discussion, the council authorized the city manager to issue a request for proposals for a feasibility study and to approve an ad hoc committee comprised of Councilmember Litzer and Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes to work with staff on the feasibility study. An RFP was issued in November, and as a result of the RFP, the city received 10 proposals from firms across the United States. The proposals were evaluated by the ad hoc committee in addition to an assistant city manager and myself. And at the conclusion of the evaluation, it was a unanimous decision to recommend a contract be awarded to C.H. Johnson Consulting. Working nationwide, Johnson Consulting has conducted over 20 recent studies related to convention centers, performing arts centers, fairgrounds, hotels, and sports centers in California communities, with many more nationwide. With several check-in points along the way, the feasibility study is expected to be completed and with a final report issued in approximately 25 weeks. The city's current budget does not include funding to conduct the feasibility study. Therefore, staff is recommending the City Council also approve an appropriation from the contingency fund for this expenditure. It's recommended the City Council approve a contract with C.H. Johnson Consulting in the amount of $68,000 for the preparation of an amphitheater feasibility study and to approve the supplemental budget request. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Thank you. Just one question. I got an email somebody requesting a question about it, and I also thought the same thing. Normally, when we do RFPs, we see the total amounts of the bids and who puts them in. And in this particular one, we do not. We just say C.H. Johnson is who we're choosing. Was there a cost taken into consideration, or just their experience, or a mixture of everything?
So because these are professional services, they're consulting services, the proposals are all evaluated on the quality of the proposal and the quality of the proposer, and the committee comes to make a recommendation on ranking them in terms of who their top choice is. At that point in time, you open the proposal, the value amount proposal. Now, if Johnson were to come in at $1 million to do the proposal, we'd probably jump to number 2. But with a proposal at $68,000 is a reasonable amount that we felt it was worth recommending to the city council. So you don't, in professional services, you don't use the proposal number as a weighting factor.
Thank you. I thought I remembered you saying it would be about 100,000, or it would be under 100,000 when you originally kind of guesstimated.
Yes.
So I'm happy with that. Thank you for the detailed explanation.
Councilmember Lister.
And actually, I just wanted to further respond to Councilmember Kavanaugh's question, because I think it's a very valid question. As we reviewed the different choices, there were just quite a wide variety. I was pleased that there was consensus on this particular entity to do the study, and so we were all hopeful when it got opened that it was actually within a reasonable amount, and I think there was some pleasant surprise that it wasn't higher. I'll be very honest, there was concern that it might be above $100,000, so we felt that $68,000 was, given what they were offering and would be providing, was a very appropriate and reasonable amount. But I think that's a very valid question. Since I had the floor, I just actually, reading from the report, I was pleased with this comment that they make. The results will serve, and this comes directly from what they hope to be providing us, as an objective, defensible foundation for communication with the general public, stakeholders, and media about the purpose this potential venue fulfills in terms of strengthening the local economy, as well as the resident tourism experience in Simi Valley. And of course, my desire is they can address not just, obviously what's critical is whether it makes economic sense to do something of this nature, but also there are intangible potential benefits. And that's what I hope that they can somehow find and summarize these intangible benefits, as well, as far as actually having a community gathering, a dedicated community gathering space, which doesn't exist in our community of 126,000 people. And so I'm hopeful that this will be very helpful as in our discussion going forward.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilwoman Kavanaugh, I also want to talk about how this proposal fleshed out. This is my first time working on reading professional service proposals for the city. And I want to compliment staff again for thoughtful diligence that went into writing the RFP, because as a consultant myself, it's easy to give accurate pricing and timeframes, and for that matter, give a more concise, maybe lower price, knowing that the proposal is clear and what the desired outcomes are. And as far as outcomes, staff asked for specific details that'll help us answer fundamental questions with clarity and granularity. For me, that question is, how can we create an amphitheater in this location and have it benefit the city? There's lots of detail that go on to get that answer, but all of those expectations were made clear in the proposal, and I was very pleased that when we entered the room, this proposal was at the top of the stack for everybody. And so it was very clear it was a comprehensive proposal, and because the RFP was written so concisely, we were able to get a very concentrated price on it as well. So thanks to staff for making that. And I would be happy to make the motion to move this forward.
Please do.
And now I have to get the actual...
And while you're pulling that up, I just want to pull it up. I just wanted to make just the historical statement here that this is, we'll see where this goes, but this is exciting that our founding forefathers envisioned the crown jewel possibly to be a performing arts center in the middle of this plaza. 20 years ago, it was envisioned that as part of when the senior center was renovated and expanded, it was envisioned at that time. So there's been a history of looking at it. I'm excited that we are willing to take a look at it again, as far as a space that people can join together and celebrate and become educated and inspired, and something that just speaks to the heart of our community. So I just want to get that on the record, that I'm excited that at least we're taking this step. So thank you for this opportunity.
All right. Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a contract with C.H. Johnson Consulting in the amount of $68,000 for the preparation of an amphitheater feasibility study, and approve a supplemental budget request appropriating $68,000 in Fund 122 and transferring from Fund 122 to Fund 100.
Second.
Call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 9C, approval of a COVID-19 Community Recovery Grant contract between the City of Simi Valley and Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District. And Senior Management Analyst Heidi DiNardo is presenting this item.
Good evening again, Mayor Thomas, members of the City Council. This evening, for your consideration, is the city's proposed contract with Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District, or RSRPD, as part of the COVID-19 Community Recovery Grant Program. As you know, under the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, $15,325,294 was allocated to the City of Simi Valley, of which $10 million was claimed as a standard deduction, and the remaining funds were subsequently claimed as lost revenue. As a result, staff determined that the distribution of these funds could be achieved through the creation of a COVID-19 Community Recovery Grant Program. The City Council approved the distribution of these funds to various projects, one of which included a funding allocation to the Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District. RSRPD's request for financial assistance through the COVID-19 Community Recovery Grant Program addresses a variety of critical needs either resulting from or exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite the initial lockdown measures, RSRPD recognized the importance of providing a safe environment for residents to engage in physical activity and social interaction. By implementing guidelines to ensure the safety of patrons, Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District facilitated a return to the swimming pool while minimizing health risks. The community pool emerged as a crucial resource in the community's recovery efforts, providing a safe space, providing numerous health benefits, and particularly valuable for individuals with injuries, impairments, or long-term health conditions. This newfound passion persisted even after the reopening of other local fitness centers and activities, highlighting the enduring appeal and importance of public pools in fostering healthy lifestyles and community connections. As part of a joint project amongst RSRPD, the Simi Valley Unified School District, and the city, the Simi Valley Community Pool and Pool House, located in Qualified Census Tract 78, is being rehabilitated. RSRPD is requesting $1 million as part of their comprehensive two-phase rehabilitation project, requesting an allocation of funding for the pool deck replacement project. Phase 1 of the project, currently underway, includes the replacement of the entire pool deck, including drains, diving stands, diving boards, chairlift, and amenities, with an estimated completion date of this week, Friday, February 16th, 2024. Phase 2 of the project, anticipated to be completed in about 2 years, is in the planning and design stage. If approved, the distribution of funds would be a one-time payment once a contract has been executed. Staff requests the City Council approve the COVID-19 Community Recovery Grant contract between the City of Simi Valley and Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District for a not-to-exceed amount of $1 million. This concludes staff's presentation, and I'm available for questions as we see Dan Perenick and Brian Dennard are in the audience. Thank you.
Councilmember Litster.
So maybe this is a question for Dan. Is it really going to be finished by the end of this week? And does that mean the water goes back in it? That's what I want to know.
You asked if we can make it rain literally?
No. Is that how we fill it up? Is it has to rain? I'm sorry.
Water is going back in the pool on February 22nd.
February 22nd is when it fills.
It's next week, I guess, but yeah.
That's
Little
that.
dated, yeah. We've been impacted by the rain and pouring concrete out there while we had the rainstorm, so it got delayed a little bit. But yep, should be in the next week. It should be back open.
That is exciting. That is exciting. Well, my question, and I know that we some time ago discussed doing this and approve it, and so absolutely supportive of this. And I know the report showed about 1.4 million in expenses, and we would be contributing $1 million towards all of that. I know that the school district has put in another $1 million, I believe.
So we're two-phasing the project.
Yes.
We needed to get the pool work done. The lifespan of a pool deck is about 15 years. Ours is about 18 years old right now. And then the second phase is the building. The building's 47 years old or so, maybe longer than that. But we needed to get the pool deck done sooner. And then phase 2, we're about ready to issue a RFP for an architect to do redesign of the pool building itself. So what we got, the pool building, I'm expecting to probably be in about the $3 million range. So between the deck at 1.7 and the pool, it's probably going to be about $4.7 million to do all of it, of which the city would be contributing through the COVID monies $1 million. Assemblymember Jackie Irwin has contributed state money to the tune of $2 million. And then the Park District and the school district will come up with the balance of funds that will be needed to complete the project. So without the COVID money, we wouldn't probably be there and being able to redo the building, or at least get a budget together to be able to renovate the building. That pool, I did want to point out, about a third of the time is spent with the school district programs. So folks forget it's our only public pool in town for 125,000 residents. It supports all of the school swim programs. It's about a third of the time. The other third of the time is kind of the private swim clubs, adult swim teams, private uses, and then the other third is kind of the public use for swim lessons and things like that. So it's not just a pool it's a pool for the whole community. So, and I'm enthusiastic that we've got a good partnerships of folks that are coming together with our community pool to renovate it, and the goal is to make sure that pool is there for another 50 years for the community. So.
Well, and I have to say, I've seen it drained and how deep the deep end is for that high dive. I had no idea. I mean,
Yeah, it's a legitimate Olympic-size rated pool.
The depth
for
and
water polo and diving and all of those things.
And this is really off topic, but so does rainwater fill? I mean, you are going to fill it up with regular, I mean, do you have to pump the rainwater out? Because it's, I mean, how does all that work?
We cover it. So that's what there's the filtration system. So if rainwater gets in there, there's a whole pumping system and filtration system, just like your home pool. So if we do get stormwater or rainwater in there, it's flushed through the pumping system and cleans it out and makes sure that, and we use, the products that you use to make the pool safe to counteract some of the rainwater and stormwater that gets in there.
So we're just, very good. Well, excited that this is taking place. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate the support, and we look forward to getting it ready. I wish I could snap a finger, we'd have a brand new pool complex, but we're talking $40 million. So we're trying to do what we can do to get our pool, our community pool, in a place where we can have it and it's sufficient.
Well, and I did see that if there's a little bit, you might try to do a splash pad or I don't know, something.
We would like to add amenity there for the younger kids. That is an Olympic-sized pool. So in the summertime, obviously, Simi's warm. It would be nice to add a smaller kiddie pool or splash pad or some kind of water slide to the project. Again, that'll be a part of whether or not we can put together some more money to make that happen. So.
Very good.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Mine's quick and easy. First comment, yes, it is about 47 years because I graduated the year it opened and the park opened. So I remember that well. We used to go down to the park. I just wanted to remind you of one thing before I vote yes.
Yes.
We were going to have free swim days.
Okay. I will.
for especially for the kids in the neighborhood and that can't necessarily afford it. Yeah. And you can put them however or wherever you want, but
I'll look to Brian for that.
Yeah, at least some free swim days for the neighborhood and anyone else. So,
right.
All right, that's it. Thanks.
No. Oh, Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
Thank you, Council.
No, hold on. Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
You're not done yet. I have to echo something that you said, because sometimes people ask what makes Simi such a great place to live, and this is one of those moments. We've got the city, we've got the parks, we've got the schools, we all have our own separate boards, we all have our own interests and constituents we have to look out for, and in some communities that could create silos, that could create adversarial situation. But here we are in this moment, we have school representation, park representation here at the city, and we can all come together. Now, this property might mostly be utilized by our schools, and it's open to the public, and every citizen could benefit, but it's in a park, and we could all point fingers, or we could join hands. And this is one of those moments where we get to join hands, and I'm glad you're here to present it. Brian, I'm glad you're here representing the board to present it, because this is one of those moments where we can agree and work together. So I'm happy to support the project, and I'm glad you guys are here presenting it.
Well, so your comment about life expectancy of the pool deck
Yes.
has been concerned about my pool deck.
Yes.
But I was just wondering, once the water's in and it's ready to go, are you going to be the one to do the celebratory cannonball?
Yeah,
to break it?
Actually, I think we need the mayor out there. Maybe Brian will do it. too.
All right, so can we get a?
I'd love to make the motion.
Go ahead.
I move to approve the COVID-19 Community Recovery Grant contract between the City of Simi Valley Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District for a not-to-exceed amount of $1 million, and authorize the city manager to execute the contract and request that our mayor and Dan Pernick do cannonballs.
Wait,
When
that's
it's
not in
complete.
there.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Take that.
It's already been seconded.
Call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
I did want to thank Brian and the city staff, Heidi and Linda, for working with us on that. But I remember when the COVID funding first started to come out, Brian, him and I were talking about it, but the staff was very cooperative and creative in weaving our way through the federal government and the states and how that money was going to flow. So I appreciate the job you guys did and that the city did to ensure that the $15 million made its way to our community and we can put it to work now. So good job. Appreciate the staff's work on that too. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 9D, authorization to execute a letter of intent with IDS Real Estate Group for recycled water delivery, and Public Works Director Ron Kuchiwaki is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and council members. This evening, staff is recommending that the City Council Board of Directors authorize the City District Manager to execute a letter of intent with IDS Real Estate Group, or IDS, regarding the potential sale of recycled water. Staff has been in discussions with IDS regarding the sale of recycled water for a proposed orchard development located at the west end of the city. IDS Capital Acquisitions LLC is in the process of acquiring approximately 587 acres located both within the city of Simi Valley and just west of the city limits, and proposes to use the majority of the property for growing of avocados. IDS is seeking a commitment of or non-binding letter of intent from the city for up to 1,200 acre-feet of recycled water per year for a term of 30 years plus 2 5-year extensions. Execution of a non-binding letter of intent would also authorize further negotiations between the city and IDS to provide recycled water to IDS. In 1923, the city's water quality control plant produced approximately 7,800 acre-feet of treated effluent, of which 4,700 acre-feet may be recycled under a state permit. Currently, 100 acre-feet per year of recycled water is being used at the city's Public Services Center and the Simi Valley landfill. The proposal with IDS would commit 1,200 acre-feet per year, leaving 3,500 acre-feet available for the city to make available to others. IDS initially proposed a rate of $2.60 per billing unit for the first 300 acre-feet, with a reduction to $1.22 per billing unit for the remaining water delivered up to a maximum of 1,200 acre-feet per year. The city district's 2024 water rate for recycled water is $3.45. Following the initial proposal and discussions of staff, IDS is now proposing $3.45 per billing unit for the first 300 acre feet and $1.22 feet per billing unit between 300 and 1,200 acre feet per year, with an annual CPI increase in January. Although the proposed rate is discounted from the current recycled water rate, the proposed letter of intent places the obligation of all infrastructure costs with IDS. This would include the cost of infrastructure required at the water quality control plant, as well as off-site infrastructure to convey the recycled water to its destination. This obligation is expected to offset the discounted recycled water rate. The recycled water usage by IDS would vary through the years, depending upon rainfall and the age of the orchard. At the proposed initial rate and upon maximum usage, the city could receive approximately $930,000 in recycled water charges. Conceptually, the city district would provide a location at the water quality control plant for IDS to connect their infrastructure to move the water to their site. All conveyance and storage infrastructure as needed would be borne by IDS. As proposed, the LOI, or letter of intent, would also include the sale of recycled water is expected to commence in calendar year 2026. The term of the agreement would be 30 years with 2 5-year mutual extensions. The price of recycled water would be tiered, with the first 300 acre feet charged at a rate of $3.45 per billing unit and $1.22 per billing unit after 300 and up to 1,200 acre feet. The prices would be adjusted for the CPI increases in January 1st of each year. The limit of water deliveries would be 1,200 acre feet per year, or 522,800 billing units. A draft letter of intent has been prepared, and the city and IDS agree that there is no obligation upon either party at this time, and that the letter of intent is non-binding upon either party. If the letter of intent is approved, the city, district, and IDS would draft a final agreement for the City Council Board of Directors consideration. Staff recommends that the City Council Board of Directors authorize the city district manager to execute the letter of intent. That concludes our staff report, and we're available for questions. And I'm sure you're all dying to know. 1 acre foot equals 325,851 gallons. Wow. Huh? Yeah.
Councilmember Litster.
This is a confession. I want you to know that I had to look up online what WQCP stood for. Anyway, I now know that it is the Water Quality Control Plant.
Yes.
Anyway, I want you to know, it wasn't in the, I had to dig it out. I just want you to know that I felt embarrassed that I don't know my acronyms better, but thank you for.
Oh, that's okay. All us old timers know what it means.
Well,
You youngsters.
Okay, I'll get there. No, I'll get there. Actually, this is, if I understand just in a nutshell, there's been 2 opportunities in the past with other contracts that for various reasons, it didn't come to fruition. Right now, this reclaimed water, a small portion is being used by Waste Management, or WM. And this would be an opportunity to have a bigger usage or a bigger supplier for
That's
agriculture purposes. Does this letter of intent well, I guess my question is, it still allows for price negotiation. Is that correct? Or is this binding that this is what is that still in the offing between the 2 parties, or is this cemented with this LOI?
I think we're trying. I think our intent is to hold to this pricing, and staff is comfortable with the pricing that we're proposing.
And I can see why we would. I don't want us to. I think it's important to have a good customers, and I suspect some is better than none. But that being said, this water right now that is being reclaimed, et cetera, where is it currently going? Or who's using it right now?
Currently, it's being dumped, is the right
Okay.
word? Pumped in, discharged, very good, into the arroyo, and it flows down the arroyo and actually
replenishes groundwater basins to the west of the city.
And I was interested to find the report that there's a percentage that we are allocated or allowed to use. Basically, we are not, as a water purveyor, we're not allowed to basically cut all the water off and say we're going to reclaim it all and send it elsewhere. Is that accurate to say that there's a portion, we're allowed a certain amount that we can sell and use, otherwise the rest must go down for that very purpose? Is that accurate?
That's correct. Not only replenish groundwater basins, but environmental conditions, need to remain the same. Any birds or fish or anything like that.
Got it. Well, I guess I would like to go on the record that I'm very much supportive of this LOI. This is exciting that it could be used for this purpose, and the fact that they are being willing to build all the infrastructure is important, not only on their own property, but on the connection to our facility. So that being said, if there's a need to negotiate in some way, I would certainly be in favor of that. But I see real value in doing this. So thank you for making this possible. Much appreciated.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If they were to exceed the 1,200 acre feet, would we stop selling water to them, or is that just a placeholder in case we sell all the rest of it to other customers? I can't imagine we would just say no, but it gives us a top end.
Yeah, I think it was a number that they had come up with based upon their expected use for the ag use that they're going to do. We wouldn't just cut them off. We would know if, as the years going by, as the months go by, we would know if we're getting close, and we'd come in and renegotiate an amendment for that.
Yeah, it would probably be in the initial contract that we did, because we'd have to have a term of what would happen if they exceeded that amount.
All right, and my only other question is, will there be enough water left over to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool?
If you want to swim in it, that you're welcome to.
I will
Mr. Mayor, I'll
entertain a
move staff's
motion.
recommendation.
Second.
Call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 10A, City Council Member Reports.
Councilmember Lidster.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for this opportunity to share some information that I've gleaned this past couple weeks. Just a few places that I've attended, a few things I've learned. On Wednesday, January the 31st, I appreciated attending the 50th anniversary celebration of our Simi Valley Council on Aging. It was an amazingly beautiful event put together. I want to commend Janet Plant and Pete Strong for their committee work, and it was just really well done. The video footage, the photos, the balloons, the magician, Al Brown. Anyway, it was just beautifully done. So my hat's off to them, and 50 more years. We have much to be proud of with that organization, with that group in our community. Thursday, February 1st, I attended SCAG's Energy and the Environment Committee meeting remotely. Even though I was headed out of town, I thought it was critical to attend. And I wanted to share some of the information I learned from their Clean Technology Compendium, which is what was shared with us. It was very much about, in fact, Council Member Judge is well-versed in all of this with his transportation work, but they were sharing just where we stand in terms of our zero-emission fleet for cars, buses, et cetera. I thought I'd share with you a little bit of the statistics that were given for buses, because that specifically applies to the city itself. The statement that they shared the figures that there are almost 500 zero-emission buses within the entire SCAG region, which of course is a 5-county region of 140-plus cities. Buses constitute the majority of the heavy-duty zero-emission ZEVs in the region, with the most being transit buses. There's 351 transit buses, followed by school buses, 112, and coach buses, about 8. So clearly the private industry doesn't have the financial incentive that municipalities do. They come at a significantly higher capital cost to purchase one of these buses. It's at approximately $1 million a bus versus maybe $500,000 for a diesel bus. And so I think that's something that people need to be very aware of. And they have up to about a 350-mile range. And of course, charging infrastructure is a huge barrier. They also shared that there are approximately 3,700 DC fast chargers and 33,000 level 2 chargers in the region. And this is what I found interesting. AB 2127 report estimates that by 2035, so that's in 11 years, 2 million charging stations will be needed in California, with 1 million in the SCAG region alone. And they talked a little bit about the hydrogen fueling infrastructure, that SCAG region has 39 operating hydrogen fueling stations, with 21 being planned to open soon, et cetera. But this is why I found particularly interesting the policy gaps, and this is what they shared. Lack of affordability for low and moderate income communities. The average cost for a passenger zero emission vehicle is about $18,000 more than that of an average internal combustion engine vehicle. And so just an awareness of what that means for your lower and moderate income communities. Clearly there's a problem. Something needs to be done to address that affordability issue. And then the lack of investment in charging and fueling infrastructure. And they estimate to bridge the current infrastructure gap from 2023 to 2030, there's a need to install approximately 3,000 chargers weekly for light-duty vehicles and 430 charges weekly for heavy-duty vehicles statewide. Nothing that's being met right now at all. So anyway, so just a very interesting report that was shared. Well, actually, I was gone that weekend because I was attending a Lincoln Day. It was a political fundraiser in Utah where I played the harp. So believe it or not, politics are well and good in other parts of this country. So I will share that. On Tuesday, February the 6th, I attended the Cal Lutheran CLU's State of the University address and wanted to share some statistics too that were shared by President Lori Varlotti, who is their current president. I thought it was interesting that they have about 4,100 students there at CLU. Their average class size is about 14. 43% are first-generation college students. 1,300 are residential students. I found this interesting. They have 22 NCAA Division III teams. Athletics is clearly important. But what I wanted to share were the statistics that she shared that pertain to the entire region. California experienced the 6th consecutive decrease in total public enrollment in the 2022-23 school year. So she was talking about what this meant for their enrollment as high school graduation falls. She stated that between 2021 and 2032, the number of high school graduates in Ventura County is projected to decline by 19%. And for LA County, it is projected to decline by 23%. Statewide, about a 13% decline. So clearly, you have fewer high school graduates, you have often fewer college attendees. And so because of this, CLU they're taking a renewed focus on adult students, and they have 11 programs that are being offered starting 2024 entirely online. 6 bachelors, 5 masters. And anyway, it was a very interesting gathering. Also attended President Reagan's 113th birthday celebration and listened to Lech Walesa, which was a very Polish Labor Party union leader, very, very interesting. And then that evening attended the CIMI, our youth council meeting. I want to commend our youth council and all that they are doing. One of the things they're struggling with, as we referenced, they want to be sure that they can get enough attendees for their special town hall meeting on the 26th. So anything we can do to encourage attendance, that'd be great. It's going to be a lovely event. On February the 8th, attended the IHOP grand opening ribbon cutting with many of my other fellow council members here, and met with our city manager, Brian Gabler. And then lots of other good things happening. Attended the Simi Valley's growing orchestra rehearsal on February 9th. They're still going strong. But on February the 10th, I was able to deliver a city certificate to R&R Pet Lifestyles and Supplies, which is a lovely pet store facility that is on the corner of Tapo Canyon and Alamo. They celebrated 10 years of being in business, and I think we need to celebrate all of our local-owned businesses that are thriving and working hard. And so it was good to present them with a certificate for that. And today attended the Council on Aging, where they reconstituted their leadership. And congratulations to Pete Stong, who's now the new chairperson of the Council on Aging. And so that concludes my report. And happy Valentine's in 2 days.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Mine will be short and sweet. And I had to go out of town for work on Monday and Tuesday, the 5th and the 6th, during the pouring rain. So that was always kind of fun. But on Thursday, last week, on the February 8th, I was able to attend the Neighborhood Council District 1's meeting. It was great turnout for the new council members, got to meet some of them. But what I really found interesting was the programs that we shared for them. So we had Sergeant McAllister, who's our sergeant for traffic from CMPD. He did a presentation for them, which was very good. You did a good job, Chief. And then we had Brett Seamer from Public Works go over he's the flood manager, and actually go over how and why we're removing zones from the flood zone. So I knew we were, and I knew we were doing a great job. What that means to you is you don't have to pay for flood insurance if you own your home. So Simi Valley's been doing a great job on that, and Brent really did a great job in describing how and when and why, and I think he's probably been in charge of that for a while. Yeah, so he's doing a great job, so we can thank him for saving us money. Thank you, Ron. It's your area. And then I already mentioned that Daniel he described the 3 home buyer programs that the city has and the differences, and there was a lot of excitement about the one we just voted on tonight. And I know we're not accepting applications, but you can go on the website and do a point of interest or an interest email, something along those lines. Right, Mara? Interest list. Right. So you can go on our website and sign up for the interest list, and as soon as the program's ready and or getting ready, you'll be sent an email, so you can call and possibly apply. But there were a lot of very happy, excited people about this program, because it's great. It's probably going to be, it's the first time we're able to do something like that, and it'll help some people buy their first house. So that's it for me, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Judge.
I'm still recovering from the statement about an electric bus going 300 miles. Okay. On Wednesday, January 31st, I attended the SCAG Executive Committee. I'm very sorry I couldn't make the 50th anniversary of the COA, but I had other things on my list. During that meeting, SCAG is basically trying to go through the process of deciphering the state's budget and state's budget woes. So REAP 2.0 has been put on hold. All those funds have been put on hold. We're trying to find ways to lobby our legislatures and our senators to keep those funds in the budget, because a lot of those funds have already been earmarked for things around the counties, including Ventura County, and we'd like to see those funds continue, although they have been cut out of the governor's current budget. So I'll let Rocky talk about the SCAG meetings. On the Friday, February 2nd, I attended the VCTC meeting down in Camarillo. We had to go to the Ventura County Camarillo's city library because their council chambers are under construction. So they have a very nice library, by the way. It's almost as nice as ours, but it's a very nice library. During that meeting, again, the big conversation was REAP 2.0, because VCTC, our Ventura County Transportation Committee, makes use of a lot of those funds that SCAG distributes from the state, federal government. And now that the REAP funds have been cut off by the state, they're trying to figure out ways to get around that or lobby to keep those funds in the budget. So that was the major topic of those 2 meetings. Electric bus does not go 300 miles. I can't believe somebody told people that. Anyways, Thursday, February 8th, I attended the grand opening of the IHOP over there where Bob's Big Boy used to be, Coco's used to be. Very happy to see that now our city has 2 24-hour eating locations on both sides of the valley, so that if you are out and about and you have, or you work weird hours like I used to, that you have a place to go and eat when you're coming home or going to work. So that is good news. I was also happy to hear about the malls meeting today, about what they want to do up there, which I hope does come to fruition. And that's the end of my report. Thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can't remember if I said this in the last council report, but at the day of our last council meeting on January 29th, just prior to our meeting, I met with the detective from our Human Trafficking Division about some things that we think that we could do in the city to streamline some activities and make that better. And so, Chief, you have great talent in that department, and that was a great conversation. I appreciated having it, and hopefully good things come from that. On Wednesday, January 31st, I too attended the Council on Aging 50th anniversary celebration. Congrats on 50 years, and I'm sure there will be 50 more easily. I want to apologize to Al. He was the magician, and I had to miss the magic show because I had to run back over here to City Hall to take a Zoom call, which I really would have rather watched a magic show than the Zoom call. That Zoom call was the Clean Power Alliance. It was a special request for a meeting that I had. The Clean Power Alliance writes contracts for buying, selling, and distributing, storing energy. And they asked the board members, of which I'm the board member for our city, on there to ratify these contracts, and they're all redacted. And so all the terms of the contracts are invisible to the board, and if you go early to the meeting, you can quickly look at them. Well, there were 13 contracts comprising 1,000 pages, and I asked for a special meeting to go over them, please. And I will say, as contracts, they're really well-negotiated contracts once you see the terms underneath. Now, what they're negotiating is still like smoke and mirrors and pipe dreams in terms of buying stuff that doesn't exist from companies that haven't built anything yet. But at least the contract's in place, and it's well-negotiated. So let's see. On February 1st, I went downtown to the SCAG meetings. I sit on the Community Economic Human Development Committee, as well as the Regional Council. Thanks for the deference to talk about it. The real message coming out of those meetings is that with the proposed budget, everything's screwed, and everything has to come to a complete halt. Nothing can be spent. And all of those programs that just got granted are being told, don't spend any money, don't move forward, don't do anything, because if half the funding is gone, you can't do a half a program. And so if the budget stays the way it is, we'll probably have to go to REAP 2.5 and start all over again and redo half the number of projects, and there'll be a lot of infighting on that. So as a result, I put out a letter with our coordinator in Ventura County that hopefully all council members here will get, and city managers, that says there's a toolkit that tells you how to write in letters saying, please, please don't cut the REAP 2.0 funding, because that would cost even more millions cutting the funding. So. And then that afternoon, I left the SCAG meetings, went to the Clean Power Alliance meeting, where I voted on the contracts that I talked about the day before. Tuesday, February 6th, I decided that I would ghost into a meeting for city managers from the Clean Power Alliance to see what they were telling our city managers was going on in the meetings. And yeah, it was pretty consistent, but I wanted to hear how they were pitching the successes to you. Thursday, February 8th, I also attended the IHOP grand opening, which is great. It's I believe in District 4. That makes me proud. It might be just out. No, it's in yours. Dang it. All right. Well, I can't claim it, but I'm going to eat there anyway because that's how I got through college, was on IHOP bottomless coffee. Let's see. Friday, February 9th, I attended the chamber breakfast, and it's great to see such energy from our 5-star chamber. Oh, she's not even here. Oh, man. And all the things that are going on, and I'm thankful for the chamber for pressing forward with the Little House on the Prairie event, and that is the end of my report.
All right, make this quick. Tuesday, the February 6th, I attended Ronald Reagan's 113th birthday celebration at the Reagan Library. It was quite a production, and I thought it was an amazing thing to actually hear La Gluesa speak. That was a very cool experience. On Thursday, February 8th, I attended the grand opening of IHOP. I'm so excited about that. I've been there for breakfast at least a half dozen times already. Saturday, February 10th, I held a town hall meeting at the Simi Valley Town Center. And although the attendance was lower than I was hoping for, what that allowed us to do is have a really in-depth conversation. It actually turned out to be a very interesting meeting. And out of that came some items that I plan on having a conversation with our city manager about. And that is the end of my report. So with that, I would like to adjourn tonight's meeting in memory of Anne Berland, a retired human resources employee of the city.
Actually, I think you're supposed to ask if there's any.
Oh.
You don't,
See, I'm
future,
like
but you don't have to.
Not paying attention. Yeah. So any future agenda items? There was a discussion about something earlier. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, let me finish up on that, electric buses. A comment on that. So all those charging stations, and that doesn't even address all the electricity that's going to be needed for all the cars that people are going to be driving. But the estimate for the power requirements that we're going to need for 2035 by Southern California Edison alone, just in their district, is $30 billion investment in infrastructure. I said, well, where's that money coming from? And they said, the ratepayers. I went, oh, okay, well. Anyways, any agenda items? Seeing none, then I'm going to adjourn tonight's meeting in memory of Anne Berlin, retired human resources employee of the city, and Jaime Ramirez, Julia Ramirez's father, senior management analyst. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a good evening. Adjourn this meeting.